Hello rail fans, and welcome to French Fried Trains. Well folks, it's the last day of the year, December 31st, as I'm recording this. So, as has been our tradition the last few years, today we're going to be doing a top 10 video for the year 2024. And this is going to be what I think are the top 10 builds we've done on the channel this year. Now, unfortunately, due to real life, I haven't had as much time to work on videos as I used to. So there was much less builds to pick from this year, but I was still able to find 10 that I really like. And remember, this is subjective. This is just my opinion on what I think our best builds were. Yours may vary. So sit back and relax and enjoy as we go over the top 10 builds from 2024 on French Fried Trains. French Fried Trains is a channel for adult rail fans and Minecrafters, and is not intended for children under 13 years of age. This is a fan channel for fun. We are not affiliated in any way with Microsoft or Mojang. This is not an official Minecraft product. And as a friendly reminder, I do not take requests at all. Thank you, and enjoy the video. Number 10. So number 10 on our list this year is actually a fantasy locomotive that doesn't exist in real life. This is a BNSF DDA40X, which was the largest locomotive in the world. And while the type does exist, it was only under Union Pacific, but I decided to make one in BNSF colors here to see what it would look like. And I think it turned out pretty good looking here. And since it is so different than the normal freight locomotives we build on the channel, it earns it the number 10 spot on this year's list of the top 10 best builds 2024. Number 9. And in our number 9 spot this year is our first rail train and our first passenger train. This is the CTA 5000 series, which is a passenger train from the Chicago area, which you will see all around downtown Chicago. And I picked this one because of all the detailing on bottom and just the overall looks of how it came out. And as you can see, it is a full passenger train here. And for that reason, it takes the number 9 spot. Number 8. And in the number 8 spot this year, we have our first freight locomotive. This is a Florida East Coast Railway Gevo in their newest paint scheme. And it turns out FEC is actually owned by the parent company that owns Ferromex. So their new paint scheme brings them in line with Ferromex's new paint scheme down in Mexico, except with blue instead of red. And I just really like how the striping pattern looks in Minecraft and turned out on this one. So for that reason, this FEC Gevo takes the number 8 spot this year. Number 7. For number 7 this year, we have a CSX Heritage Unit. And while we have done every CSX Heritage Unit released on the channel, I decided to pick this one for the top 10 list. This is the Seaboard Airline Heritage Unit, and I really like how the yellow looks in Minecraft. It really pops. And I chose this one because I feel out of all of them, it strikes the best balance between a lot of detail and not enough detail. So for that reason, the Seaboard Airline Heritage Unit takes the number 7 spot. Number 6. Number 6 this year is actually an F unit, and this is an old Louisville Nashville F7 locomotive, and it is my most updated version of an F7, where we're using the dead horn coral fans on top for the fans so they fit right with the exhaust. And I picked this one because I really like how the pinstriping turned out on it. So for that reason, this Louisville and Nashville F7 is in our number 6 spot, finishing off the bottom half of the list for 2024. Number 5. And now we're on to the top 5, where it got really hard to decide what order things should go. And for our number 5 spot, we have the Santa Fe Gold Bonnet locomotive. And this was a one-of-a-kind real-life locomotive painted like this for a special event back in the day. And this is an Elko, PA, in the war bonnet paint scheme, but they've replaced the red with gold. And since we don't do too many Elcos here on the channel, this one takes our number 5 spot. For number 4 is actually an Amtrak GE Genesis locomotive. And while we have done tons of GE Genesises before in the past, this is the one that's in the official final real Phase 7 paint scheme. And I just think this color scheme looks really good on this build. So for that reason, it takes the number 4 spot. Number 3. And now we're on to the top 3, where it was really hard to pick the order. But for number 3 is actually not a train build. It's going to be a Star Wars TIE Fighter. And as you can see, we've done a few of these, but the one I decided to go with was this First Order Star Wars TIE Fighter. And I had to put this on the list because I think it turned out so well with all of the details, and this color scheme is the one I prefer. And as you can see here, there are details on the back, in the back window for this one for the rear gunner. And it was a little hard to get into here, but there actually is a very small interior inside this TIE Fighter. So a bit unconventional, but with the limited amount of builds this year, I had to include this First Order TIE Fighter on our top 10 list. Number 2. And number 2 on the list is actually another one that's not a train. It's the first boat tutorial we've done on the channel, and I really like how it turned out for my first crack at an aquatic vehicle. And this is what it looks like here, and this is actually loosely based on a Lego fire rescue boat that I built earlier in the year, and since I was looking at it, I just decided to build it here. And we even have the wake underwater here, and there's a little piloting area, and there is a little cabin in here as well. And just because for our first try on a boat this turned out looking so well, it ends up being in the number 2 spot for my top 10 builds of 2024. Number 1. Well folks, this is it. What will the number 1 build of 2024 be? And in our number 1 spot, as you can see here, is another fantasy train that doesn't exist in real life. Well, the train type does. This is a Japanese Shinkansen bullet train in the old Santa Fe Super Chief paint scheme here. So it's a real train, but with a fictional paint scheme for what the train wore. And as you can see, this is a full passenger train. I just thought it would be funny to put an American paint scheme on a Japanese bullet train to see what it would look like. And just because of how these details and shaping on the front and back ends of it turned out, I had to add this one as our number 1 best looking and most complex build of 2024. So I hope everyone enjoyed going over what I thought were the best builds of this year and just taking a little look back on things we've done this year. So thanks for watching, and everyone have a safe and happy new year.